Hello, Urban Crofters. It's great to welcome you to this opportunity to meet Paul Booth. I'm delighted that Paul's with us here out in the garden at Urban Crofters. And we've heard from a few of the church leaders who are part of our ministry area, our cluster of 5 churches. But I thought it'd be great to hear from Paul as well, because Paul is chair of the governance committee, I suppose is one way of talking about our committee of church leaders and church representatives. So Paul chairs that group, which is fantastic. But Paul's also got a diocesan role in terms of promoting and developing and delivering our diocesan vision, which is all about mission and very exciting too. So, Paul, maybe to start with, you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and what you've been doing through your life.
I've been living in Wales actually for quite a while, since 1988. You would never believe I'm that old, would you? I'm married to a Welsh girl. That's what brought me back to Wales. We met in university. 4 children. Most of my life I've actually spent in education in Wales. I was head teacher of 2 schools for 15 years, then a professional advisor for the Welsh Government. So seen it from the other side, and then in more recent years I've been working for a global education company, running contracts, one in Wales, one in Brunei, and one in Ethiopia. So been around a bit, yeah. So our 3 girls, 3 girls and then a boy. Our 3 girls are Harriet, Florence, and Millie, and all 3 of them decided to get married while we were living abroad, which was very thoughtful of them, within a year. Well, actually 11 months. So all I'm saying to any of you that have got daughters, just make sure you're safe. Well, because you never know how it's going to hit.
That was quite an expensive year, I imagine.
A very expensive year. And the fact that they were so considerate and making us pollute the climate and, flying backwards and forwards, it wasn't the best. But anyway, it was great fun. And actually, I can recommend not being around when you're planning a wedding, because they have to sort of embrace it all. The only downside to that is that they want the money.
Give us the dosh, Dad.
Yeah, so that's
Sign
the reality.
the dotted line.
Yeah, that's the reality of being a parent, Let's not, And any of you that have got young kids, don't think, oh, it's so expensive. It gets worse. That's all I can say.
Looking forward to it.
A note of encouragement to start, Will. So, I live in the Vale of Glamorgan. In fact, we've lived in the Vale all the time we've been in Wales. We were in Barry, first of all, and then we're now in a little village just outside of Cowbridge. So, living in the country, which was lovely to come back to after living in Brunei, in Borneo, and then also working in Ethiopia. So, enjoying the nice sunny weather.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
So, ministry area.
Yeah. Interesting.
Begin to reflect on that.
Yes, of course. While we were living away, we were sort of... we've not really been involved in the church in Wales whilst we've lived in Wales, purely because at the time it didn't seem to give what our children needed, and we were more concerned about them growing in faith, and so that's why we made the choices that we did. But whilst we're away, we've always been involved in running alpha courses, and we saw that the HTB were hoping to plant in Cardiff, and actually viewing it from a distance and reading it was quite intriguing. And just coming back to Cardiff, we thought we really want to be involved in something new, in a church plant, and just to do something totally different. We need to stretch our own faith. And all through my life, in fact, I was talking to my dentist yesterday, and he said, the resounding thing that I remember about you is the fact that you said years ago, every 5 years you review and make sure you're doing something fresh and, not going stale. Mm-hmm. And he said to the dental nurse, he's done it, and that's why I've done all these crazy things. I said, oh, thank you for blaming me, Colin. So just keeping that freshness, and then coming back to Cardiff, being involved in Citizens Church, and then understanding, before I actually started work with the diocese, that actually they're forming into ministry areas. I thought that would be really exciting to be involved in something like that, that's new and fresh, but also joining churches together. because it's been a passion for years of mine that actually there's far more that unites us as Christians than divides us. And why do we spend all our time focusing on what divides us? Because people out there don't need to hear that.
Yeah, they're not interested.
They're not interested.
Yeah.
So that really was my motivation for being involved in the ministry area. And I didn't expect to be the lay chair, but I guess someone had to.
It's great to have you on board with that role. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, also particularly great for us in our ministry area with having you as chair of the ministry area because of your diocesan role in terms of thinking about the vision. So, you know, I'm excited how you're going to keep us accountable with how our local mission and how our ministry area mission is able to just be aligned with the diocesan vision. Maybe.
Yeah. I think the two key words from the diocesan vision for me are empower and encounter. And that's great for me because I know I'm, utilising what's already been decided upon across the whole of the diocese. And so thinking about, how are we empowering people that are already part of our Christian faith communities, and also how are we enabling others to encounter God? Because it's not just me encountering God on a weekly basis, daily basis. It's how do we enable others to encounter God? And that's the core, that's our raison d'etre. The Great Commission, Matthew 28, is about making disciples. And if we're not talking about being followers and making disciples, why are we even Christian? That's the core of what we do. And so that's my passion, is to sort of draw on all my skill sets from previous lives to actually enable people to begin to think through that and make it a reality and reflect on what we do that actually either creates a barrier for people coming into the church or creates a bridge. And so, empower, encounter, barriers and bridges are really key words for me in terms of my diocesan role, and sort of challenging people to think about that, but also to plan. And that's one thing that's really interesting is coming into an organisation, so I've worked in organisation, educational organisations, ministries of education, and looking at how do you plan ahead and how do you hold each other accountable for not just finance that comes in from evangelism funds, but also for the finances that, God gives us in our communities to make sure every buck counts. And that's quite a challenge. I can really sense this sort of change that needs to happen in terms of people thinking in those sorts of ways. And I was saying a bit earlier, Will gave me a tour around this lovely building, and very impressed with the coffee bar actually. One of the things one of my favourite questions is, so what? People tell me, I've done this, done that, and the other, and then I'm always thinking, so what? And I love that question for myself. I do certain things and you think, well, so what? You had a nice time. Did it really make an impact for the kingdom? It's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. Good question to be asked. Yeah. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining us. And it's been really great to have a chance to introduce you to Urban Crofters.
It's been great, really good. I'm an Instagram follower.
Brilliant. And I'm really excited about the way forward for our collaborative ministry and mission together.
Exactly. Yeah. Amen.
Thank you.